Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to cover how to use sentiment analysis in a Fabric notebook that will leverage Azure AI services to apply sentiment analysis to a data frame and then save it back into a data lake delta table with that new AI generated column. So let's get started. So if I look at the data that I'm going to use, so this is a small table of sentiment from original reviews in a variety of languages that we translated into English in a previous video. If you haven't seen that, I'll leave a link to it in the description. So if you want to go back and look at that. But in the long and short of it is the user entered their original review in a different language, which could be Spanish or French or Japanese or German. We translated that into this column. We're going to apply sentiment analysis actually to both columns and compare them to each other. So let's head over to our notebook that we'll use to apply the sentiment analysis. And I've already drafted this, but I'll walk through how it works. It's not that long. And then we'll run the cells and see what output we get and show you how to do this. So the first step we're going to do is to actually read in that review table. So if I look at that table, it has 2 columns, 5 rows. And let's go ahead and read that in. So we'll use Spark SQL to read that into a Spark data frame and then look at it. And it looks just like it does in the data lake. So that looks great. The next thing we're going to do is, in order to do this sentiment analysis, we're going to be calling Azure AI services. In this case, we do need to provide a key to an Azure AI services service that we created. I already have one. So I have this one that I created that I've used in some other videos. And this is a multi-service account. So I can call all kinds of different AI services using the same key. And the key and endpoint are kind of important. So here's the key. It's masked, but this key is in a key vault already. And I have another video on how to do that. I'll leave a link to that as well. And then we have an endpoint down here for the service. So, but we do need the key, and that does need to exist. And then here, what we're going to do is go into this key vault, grab the key. It'll store the key in this variable here, AI services key. So what we're going to do is run this cell. It will put the key into this variable here, AI services key. So let's run that. And that's pretty quick. It's just a quick call out to key vault. And then if we want to sort of make sure that we actually got the key, we could try to print it. And it won't actually print because the notebook knows that this is a secret. So, but it does print it redacted, so we actually know it is assigned. So that's cool. All right, the next thing we're going to do is actually apply the sentiment to the text, and we're going to apply it to the translated text first, and then we'll come back and apply it to the other column. But let's start with the text that's translated, which is text_translated. So let's get that in here. So what we're doing here is we import the Synapse ML services, which gives us access to these transformers. And transformers will take a data frame, we'll apply some Azure AI service to every row in it, and then append that information to the data frame so we can use it from there. So very nice. So we're going to use the text sentiment transformer, the text column. We're going to use text translated first. So let's change that. And we'll come back and look at the other one in a minute. The output column is going to be sentiment result. That's actually going to be a JSON object. Then we have to say what region and what's the key for our AI services. So, and that's defined up here. So it's East US, and the key we grabbed from Key Vault. So that looks good. If there are an error, it'll go into this error column. And let's run that and see what we get. Okay, so here's the original text. There were no errors. That's nice. And then here is the actual return from the transformer is a JSON object that has a lot of information. All I'm going to do is extract the overall thought, for the entire blurb of whether that was positive or negative or mixed. So I'm going to do that down here by just grabbing this nest deep property within the JSON object and appending that to my data frame. Okay, so here I have mixed, positive, and I could actually click on this and look at what the text was and see if I agree with that or not. This one was mixed, and I've looked at these before. I think the reason it's mixed is because it mentions a tire being punctured 3 times. That seems a little bit negative. Overall, though, really the review is positive, isn't it? Because he loves the new product, but he mentioned an old product that had a problem, and I think the the model saw that as being, there's a little bit of negative in there, and that makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, so I am kind of curious though, could I, instead of passing in English text, could I pass in just text in any language? Let's find out. So we'll change that to text. That's going to pass in various languages. So let's see what it does. We'll run it again. And it did work, right? And let's go ahead and just extract the overall sentiment value from the JSON object. And so this actually changed it a little bit. You can actually see these two reviews are the same review. And now they're both mixed. Before, one of them was positive in English and one was mixed in English, which was kind of interesting. I think it's more consistent actually to pass in the other languages. So just kind of an interesting test. Okay, so we have our sentiment now appended to the data frame. Now let's go and write that to a delta table. So we're going to call the table review sentiment. It's going to wind up with these 3 columns in it. So let's run that. And then if we go up to the tables here and refresh that, we should see the new tables show up. There it is. And I'm going to use some Spark SQL just to select it out so we can look and see that our data made it, and it did. So that data frame is now a delta table, which we can take and do whatever else we want to with. In a production solution, we probably have more columns than this with keys and so on, so we can link it to other data like products and users and things like that. But for simplicity's sake, I just kept it to the bare minimum. Okay, so that's it. Really, all our process is just, selecting the source data, getting a key that we need, running it through Azure AI services, and then saving it back to the data lake for use on further processes. So I hope you found that interesting, or at least if you learned something, and I'll see you next time.